The Pokemon Company and Nintendo have sued Pocket Pair, the creators of Palworld, for patent infringement. And you and I need this lawsuit to fail. While it may seem like this is just another Nintendo lawsuit, there is more history at play and potentially more malice at play that extends even past Palworld that many well-meaning commentators and commentators I respect have not made comment on or just maybe aren't aware of. Just so you're up to speed, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo are not suing Palworld because of the obvious similarities between monster designs. That would fall under copyright. A patent is for game mechanics. While we aren't completely certain what patent is being infringed upon, this does raise the question of whether a company with a large enough of a budget such as Nintendo can bully smaller competitors into silence, ultimately suffocating creativity. By that logic, at least, what's stopping Call of Duty from patenting FPS mechanics? What's stopping Magic the Gathering from CCG mechanics? What's stopping Dark Souls from, patenting rolling mechanics? You get the picture. I have seen many internet commentators discuss this, what this could mean, and how much of a bully Nintendo is for doing this to a company a fraction of their size, which is all true. But these all lack some of the true scope of this lawsuit. It is so much worse than what it appears at face value. Let's roll back the clock to the time of the arcades. This information, by the way, was collected from a very well done video I have linked in the description. Do go check it out for more of the information of what I'm about to discuss here. Back during the era of tokens and tickets, patents and mechanics were commonplace. Heck, Namco patented the high score screen and a company by SNK patented the title screen. Obviously, we still have these features today, so a patent existing at all doesn't necessarily force all future products to adhere to them. In fact, Nintendo and most massive game dev companies will patent many mechanics even in today's games. Tears of the Kingdom, for example, had 31 patents filed for it, and yet, of course, nothing has come to it or nothing has made it to a court case. Then why are these patents made at all? Protection and a code of honor. Creativity needs room to breathe, yet what happens if somebody wants to weaponize legal systems to bolster their creative project financially? Well, then you get Callapol. I'm gonna call it Callapol. It's a Japanese company. I'm gonna slaughter it anyway. To make a long story short, Callapol was a mobile game company that patented the use of touchscreen for controls. Rather than the code of honor patents created in the past, Callapol used these to charge anyone trying to create touchscreen games with fees. Obviously, this is a bit slimy. Daddy Nintendo got involved, and a few $1 million later, Callapol lost its case, and the Nintendo DS, as well as many other future touchscreen games, were allowed the creative freedom they deserve. Nintendo has come to be a victim, in fact, of bad faith patent claims in the past. The Nintendo Wii came under fire for their motion controls remotes by a company called iLive. Obviously, Nintendo won, and motion controls are allowed in many games today. So then, what makes this lawsuit with Nintendo and Pocket Pair different? Nintendo has had anti-fan practices in the past, but their track record for patents seems solid, as if they're upholding this end of the code of honor. This lawsuit, unfortunately, does not seem to be made with this code of honor in mind. While Nintendo is within their full legal right to uphold their patent, Palworld and Pocket Pair are not acting in bad faith towards creativity. They're not trying to defame or take down Nintendo. The patent defense listed here have all been from companies trying their best to use lawsuits to crush creativity, and then companies using the legal system available to them to fight back. Palworld, on the other hand, while certainly inspired by Pokemon, obviously, is meant to be a continuation of this creativity, not an attack against it. Nintendo could have very likely gone after any number of smaller games in the past, as they have with fan games. But from where I sit, Palworld is different because Palworld is a threat. Palworld was the first time a clone of their ludicrously popular and profitable IP was successful and moreover innovative. Pokemon games for the last years have been struggling to meet even the most diehard fans of wants and needs. Palworld, while an entirely different experience once you get into it, did deliver and made serious cash off of it. It's tempting as a longtime Pokemon fan to be glad that Palworld, an obvious ripoff of Pokemon, is finally getting what it deserves. But if we take a step back, you will see that you would disagree with this ideology as well. Pokemon came into the scene and introduced something spectacular. But after building their empire and amassing millions of fans, Pokemon now sits in a sort of limbo. Games not being great and IPs being sort of shaky. Pokemon's biggest reason why its games have sucked is likely that Nintendo knows you have nowhere else to go. There are no other Pokemon games like Pokemon. You will buy the product regardless of its quality, i.e. Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon became the Walmart of monster catching games, break into the market with offers that make it impossible for smaller companies to compete, and once they're out of business, they can feast on the market however they please. It's a monopoly through and through. Thankfully, unlike groceries, games are not a necessity, and of course there are many other games to enjoy. But what if you aren't happy with the game's execution, but you still love the concept? This is where healthy competition should generally play its role in the market. For example, fans of this channel know that Destiny has been flapping around in the wind for the past few years, with some expansions that are good and some that are not. Unfortunately, there was little to challenge Bungie, but now, a decade later, we have First Descendant, Once Human, and Warframe, which has been around since before Destiny. But now imagine if none of those games existed because Blizzard decided to make and enforce a patent on random loot in a video game off of Diablo. What it boils down to is that Pokemon isn't doing this in order to protect and encourage creativity like they have with patent issues in the past. This is what is known as punching down. It's good for society to use legal systems to protect those who do not have extreme wealth and power from those who do. If Pokemon ripped off of a design from Palworld, it would certainly be ironic, but that would feel far more slimy, far more scummy than Palworld ripping off the giant that is Pokemon. But the crux of this issue lies in the consistency of application. Pokemon and Nintendo didn't bat an eye at Temtem. You remember Temtem? Probably not. Yet another game trying to create what they think is the best version of the Pokemon formula, and it seems to me because they weren't threatened by this presence, or maybe they didn't think ahead of time to patent this idea of catching animals. I think Palworld was able to, even in some small part, make Nintendo worry. The polish and innovation that a company was able to put out that is, again, a fraction of a fraction smaller than them makes their poor excuse for Pokemon games look like what they really are. I think Pokemon and Nintendo was scared, and rather than trying to outcompete Palworld, out-innovate, and make a better product, they just went after them legally. So in short, while yes, Nintendo is absolutely within their legal right to sue Pocket Pair and Palworld, their intentions are far from altruistic. If Pokemon fans want better Pokemon games, then they better pray for a miracle in the Japanese court system, because from sheer financial power alone, Nintendo's going to win. For the rest of us, we need to pray that this doesn't set a precedence for all massive game studios, that as soon as a small studio actually competes with their own, that they don't just shut them down in court. Nintendo got its start standing on the shoulders of giants just as well as Pocket Pair. The fact that they haven't even revealed what Pocket Pair infringed upon is a telltale sign that Nintendo seeks to intimidate, not to protect. I hope to God I'm wrong about everything. The world is a better place when we cooperate and compete in a friendly manner, not when we try to drag everyone else down to bring ourselves up. If we want to do something about it, we have to speak up. We, as fans, need to be loud. And in a world where money talks, silence is deafening.